to fly. The FAA made the announcement today.
We took the final steps to enable the Boeing 737 MAX to safely return to commercial service.
But Cairo Radio's Mike Lewis, who broke the story, says the FAA's decision to lift the grounding order comes with conditions.
One of the things that goes along with this order is retraining every single pilot who is going to be flying the 737 MAX, and that is a tall order. Every airline is now in the process of scheduling what's going to be some form of re-flight school, essentially, to learn the new software system, which is what got Boeing in this mess in the first place.
The original software was implicated in 2 deadly crashes. Word today that 1/4 of Washington residents could be unsure of where their next meal is coming from during the holiday season. Northwest Harvest CEO Thomas Reynolds.
We expect from the November to February time frame to be very difficult. Maybe as many as 2.2 million Washingtonians food insecure during this time period.
He says the demand on food banks has doubled in the past year because of the coronavirus restrictions to curb it and layoffs. Leaders east of the mountains are pushing against the governor's new COVID restrictions, which ban indoor dining and limit in-store capacity to 25% for 4 weeks.
In Yakima County,
This will devastate our economy.
Sela Mayor Sherry Raymond tells Kima TV
My heart breaks for these restaurants. They're going to close.
her position.
We as a city will not enforce it.
Meantime, in the Tri-Cities, the mayors of Pasco, Kennewick, Richland, and West Richland sending a unified message to Governor Inslee asking him to reconsider.
Cairo Radio's Kenna Scott there. With both Pfizer and Moderna making headway on COVID vaccines, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Alex Azar, is optimistic.
By the end of December, we expect to have about 40 million doses of these 2 vaccines available for distribution.
First responders, healthcare workers, and the medically vulnerable are expected to get the first vaccines. Meantime,
President Trump's own COVID task force now shows 47 states are in the red zone for new cases. The task force calls the spread of the virus aggressive and unrelenting.
that's CBS's Natalie Brand. Let's go to Cairo Radio real-time traffic and Tracy Taylor.
Finally, Heather, finally, they've got the stall out of the way. This big tow truck moved this big truck from the center lane on northbound A5 at 145th, and it's quite the clog for drivers now, leaving Lake City Way and heading out that direction. On top of that, we had some earlier issues in the express lanes near 85th, and it looks like those have now cleared out of the way. All right, guys, it's busy. South end of the Valley Freeway, shy of 405, that's 277. Some heavier traffic up South Center Hill. Normal slowdowns over on the east side getting out of Bellevue, but I'm keeping my eyes on Tacoma right now, where we have some heavier traffic leaving Highway 18 out towards the Puyallup River Bridge. Drivers are going to run into a little bit of a residual backup, especially around Jackson and 16th, or rather eastbound 16 at Union, rather. That was an earlier stall that was taking up the right lane. I'm also hearing about a situation that's going on Jackson and 16th Avenue South. That's here in Seattle, and drivers are tweeting at us asking what's going on northbound I-5 just north of Cliff Road. That's a crash there that's taking up at least 1 lane. Traffic is going to be a little slow for you if you are headed out on, or rather around Joint Base Lewis McCord. More on that coming up here in 10 minutes. Traffic brought to you by the state of Washington. If you want to help reduce the risk of COVID when you get together with friends and family, get tips at coronavirus.wa.gov/gatherings. Cairo Radio Real-Time Traffic, I'm Tracy Taylor.
Your Cairo Radio forecast calls for lows tonight in the 40s, tomorrow showers and highs around 50. It's 47 in downtown Seattle. I'm Heather Bosch.
For breaking news, highlights, podcasts, and more, download the Cairo Radio app. Cairo Radio, here for what's next.
All right, Lake Washington Windows and Doors with a friendly reminder to don't be like Tom and live in a hole in the ground with a big piece of pig iron on top. That's no way. You got to have windows and doors. Now, Mike, you and I have been doing this for a long time, and I don't understand why you still hold out not wanting to have windows and doors. Lake Washington Windows and Doors will be there for you when you decide that, you know what, maybe I have it, just one door.
You know, maybe if I became the voice of Lake Washington Windows and Doors, I might
come on, do it for free. All right, Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Take good care of the home. It's the biggest investment you've got. Don't get that moisture in there or heat head on out. That's no way to spend the winter. With that cold, drafty house, Lake Washington Windows and Doors there for the rescue. All right, so the big race is now on to find out who takes over for Alex Trebek. And, of course, filling the shoes there for Alex at Jeopardy. Okay. No, all right. gave this to the rookie producer, and sure, I only gave him about 30 seconds to find the sound. This is a test, John, basically. I want to see the kid have what it takes. You have it?
Which of these three players gets to come back in 3 days to play for $250,000? They're dealing with famous phrases and this clue. In the title of a groundbreaking 1890 expose of poverty in New York City slums, these three words follow how the. 30 seconds. Good luck.
Other half lives. Right? What do you say, Tom?
Yeah, I like it.
You doing other half lives as well?
Yes.
How much are you wagering?
$400.
I'm going to wager 401. Skip ahead. The question is, when you go to replace a host more than 30-some years that Alex Trebek have been doing the show, do you try to find somebody like Alex? Do you go Alex Light? Do you go the other way? They're really in a quandary because change is the greatest hobgoblin of television. When you change something, all of a sudden it gives everybody a reason to go, well, I don't like the new guy. And they just leave.
No, I think it's a great dilemma, but it's also a great dilemma to have in that they are now trying to continue a cultural institution, and I think the perfect person. Now, I don't know how he'd come off, but what you need to do is you need to win over people that are already fans that have been watching it for 30-odd years and even longer if you go back to the Art Fleming days. But the key person that, according to everything I've read, is actually a kind of a neighbor of mine of sorts.
Oh.
Ken Jennings lives, he's a friend of Rachel's, and so I know in general where he lives. He's in, within 15-minute walk from where I live. He is true to Seattle, but he's truer and truer to Jeopardy itself. He just, with Alex Trebek presiding, he just won the greatest of all championship between the top three earners and all that. I think that if you're a fan of Jeopardy, people probably love Ken Jennings from all reports, and that he would be the perfect host. If he has the kind of panache to pull it off on TV, he's the guy to make that transition because he loves Trebek as much, if not more, than any of the other Jeopardy fans, I would guess.
Does he ever struck you as having panache?
Well, he does have a quick wit. And so that might be all you need. It's a very I think you would be a terrible host of Jeopardy.
Yeah, I don't.
Because you have way too much personality. What you need to do is you need to be very controlled and just make this kind of...
No. But why? So what you're saying is you need to copy Alex Trebek. So you're looking for an Alex Trebek light. So you're saying Ken Jennings would be, because he's respected, he's done it before. And
there's no animosity that would be pushed toward him for taking over Trebek's shoes because he is like everybody else a Trebek fan.
Yeah,
that's my argument.
But how can some shows like Family Feud...
It aired on July 12, 1976 on ABC, with Richard Dawson as the host.
Yes.
Dawson hosted the show for 9 years until 1985.
Then what happened?
In 1988, CBS revived the show with Ray Combs playing the host. However, in 1994, Dawson replaced Combs and continued to be the Family Feud host.
Good old days.
Until 1995.
And then
the show went off the air once again.
And
Family Feud then made a comeback in 1999 with Louis Anderson serving as the host until 2002.
The Anderson years.
Louis was replaced by Richard Karn in 2002, and Karn in turn was replaced by John O'Hurley in 2006.
Oh my God.
In 2010, Steve Harvey joined Family Feud.
Steve Harvey. They kept ripping through hosts there.
Yeah.
Eventually they were going to get to Utah, but Harvey lost the job. So the thing is that it felt like the host of that show, you could put somebody in there with personality, but because Alex put such a stamp on it, right?
Yeah.
That you don't... What would you advise them to do? You think they should go Alex Light? Or take the show off the air for a couple of years and then come back later?
Well, I mean, right now, so what I would do is I would give it to Ken Jennings and see if it flies. And if it doesn't, kind of gracefully after a year or, of suspect ratings, then I might, sort of put it on hiatus and then come back when you've got a different idea, maybe with some Ken Jennings input. I think that James Holzhauer guy is really interesting. He's the guy who changed the gambling bet.
Yeah.
He always would go for the 1,000. He would bet all this money. He seems to have that kind of a gambler's take that Ken Jennings admits. He plays the game exactly the opposite of the way I do, but it's a fun kind of there's more flair to Holzhauer's game than Jennings. I would try those guys for a while, but, you know, I don't think it has to be, you're not just imitating Trebek, because I'm old enough to remember Art Fleming. Art Fleming was as dry as toast, too. You just need a guy that can read the answers and, you know, pronounce some foreign words every so often or some biological scientific terms. Other than that, you don't need a lot of personality. It just needs to be, you know, direct.
George Stephanopoulos wants the job.
That's what I heard. He and Anderson Cooper are considered front runners. I don't know that they want the job, but I think that would feel to me like a sellout. The great thing about Jeopardy is it really focuses on the intelligence. It's a trivia game, but it's really kind of brainy trivia. I think if you go with a big name like Stephanopoulos, the other example I heard I thought might be great, LeVar Burton. LeVar Burton, I think, in addition to his Star Trek stuff, you know, he did Reading Rainbow, and now I saw a picture of him, you know, and his hair has gone white. He looks very avuncular, maybe even grandfatherly. He might be a perfect guy as well.
Okay, so he's an avuncular from uncle to grandfather would be okay then?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. Well, no matter whoever replaces, everybody ends up hating him.
Yeah,
not everybody, but you lose a lot of fans, right?
No. I mean, I think that's definitely the case. And if it was Ken Jennings, I think Ken Jennings say, "I don't blame you. I'm no Alex."
I replaced a guy named Mr. Roberts at WCIA Weather. Mr. Roberts had been there for like 50 years and died in his car in the parking lot after doing the 11 o'clock weather.
Oh my God!
So then I get hired, and people are like, "He's no Mr. Roberts," and I'm like, I'm 100 years younger than Mr. Roberts. I didn't say I was Mr. Roberts, but if everybody talking to this lady on the phone screaming at me, I didn't kill him. I didn't go into the parking lot. He died, but he died on the job, and everybody loved him. But it's like I'm not there to replace the guy.
Yeah.
Golly gee, the news director should tell you that. By the way, he's taking over for this guy that everybody loved, Mr. Roberts. And that happens in the radio business, too. Yes, it does. When you and I were given the opportunity, wink, nod. Yeah, why don't you let 3 other people try the show before us? See how that goes. Oh, that's terrible.
That's right. You're terrible.
No, me. You're terrible. I'm going to go down to the basement and see how those 2 or 3 are doing. Hey, guys. How's it going down there? Tracy Taylor, look at traffic.
Watching the drive right now to be quite slow on northbound I-5 as we work our way up to 145th in Shoreline. That's from an earlier stalled out semi-truck that was taking up the center lane. It's been clear.